It's time to mind your business with me, Jamillah Lodge. Tune in to find out how to mind your business with BEDC, special guest entrepreneurs, industry experts, and more. Brought to you by BEDC. Bermuda Business starts here. Good afternoon, Eureka. How are you?
I'm good. Good afternoon, Jamillah. I'm great.
Welcome to Mind Your Business.
It's so great to be here in the official podcast space for the first time.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. So we usually have you christen the show, but this is your first time being in the room. So welcome.
Thank you.
And today it's holiday, right? As evidenced by our cute coordinating attire.
Exactly.
So I guess I want to start by, if you could just introduce yourself and remind people what you do for the organization. And then we can get into kind of what your goals are for BDC, and then we'll talk about the holidays and what's next.
Sure. So I am Eureka Smith. I have the privilege of working with the team and leading the team here at BDC, and I've had that privilege as the leader since 2014. But have been here at BDC since 2009. So I think I'm part of the furniture now.
You and me
guys. Sorry, guys. And so, I started as the director of the Economic Empowerment Zones Agency and then transitioned into the executive director of BDC. And it's been an absolute privilege and great time, for me here at BDC. I think we have done so many great things. I feel like I've been involved in so many great initiatives and met so many great people and entrepreneurs. I just wouldn't change the last, 12 years, 13 years, whatever it is from 2009. I can't count anymore.
Neither can I. Well, I could say at working with you, it has been wonderful to see the organization change because I feel like I'm a piece of the furniture now too.
You got here just before me a little bit,
Yeah. But it's been amazing to see how the organization has changed over the years. When you were director of Economic Empowerment Zone, can you talk a little bit about what the focus was at the time and then maybe how it's changed over the years?
Focus for BDC?
For BDC.
Yeah, I think that was, I think when the organization brought me on, that was kind of their impetus to try. I think they were being asked to do a lot more. Mm-hmm. And the remit for the organization was expanding beyond just focusing on providing financial products for businesses and entrepreneurs and maybe seminars and so I saw that BDC was really touching entrepreneurs where they were. Mm-hmm. I really was drawn to the fact that they had this remit in not just assisting those that are already kind of arrived, but also those that need a lot more help and support. And I think with regard to the empowerment zones, that was a real tangible way to reach out and make some change in some geographic locations. But since that time, I have seen BDC evolve into so much more as a holistic organization, and it's really been. It makes me proud. It makes me proud for the people I think that work here and deliver those programs and initiatives on a daily basis. So, not just financial products, but meeting entrepreneurs across their entire life cycle, from ideation stage. Someone may have an idea but don't know whether or not they can validate it, validating that idea. Mm-hmm. And then, really understanding, okay, this can actually work and creating a viable business, a minimal viable product, and then taking that business and launching it into the marketplace, and then seeing that business scale or grow, and then maybe potentially exit that business at some point. So I saw BDC as being able to deliver products and services that would meet entrepreneurs across that entire life cycle of what we want to see in the entrepreneurial ecosystem. Really excited about the international partnerships that we have been able to forge, right? And I think that has grown substantially over the last, 10 to 12 to 15 years. I'm really proud about that because I think it helps to not just establish Bermuda as a ecosystem that supports entrepreneurs, but also establishes us as a world-class destination for entrepreneurs. And I think it puts us on the map. Really, really excited about the fact that we have been able to provide more and diverse types of financial products
Yeah.
for entrepreneurs. Starting from just providing guarantees to being able to do direct financing, concessions, incentives, licensing for micro entrepreneurs. And so that's really, really great. And then I feel particularly proud about being able to provide access to education for entrepreneurs to help them to, sharpen their skills and become a more viable business owner and product within Bermuda's marketplace and beyond. And then last but not least, I think that the crown and baby on all of this is the implementation of those education courses into real focus incubator and accelerators to help to scale Bermuda businesses, help them start in the marketplace, and then also that connection to our young people, because I believe that entrepreneurship is a viable career choice, and so we should be doing everything that we can to let people know that their only choice is not to be employed by others, but
Right.
they can actually be self-employed and create jobs for others. And so as long as you have a skill set and a knowledge in an area, or you can identify, where there is a need or a gap in the marketplace or opportunity, I feel really, really blessed that we're able to help to bring that focus to startups in a really, really intensive way to help them to deliver their solutions that will mean the best for Bermuda. So that's it in a nutshell. I mean, I kind of consider BEDC in itself. I mean, I think we're past the startup phase because we've been in existence for like 40 years.
I know, right?
But I think with the team that we have had over probably the last 10 years, they have all brought their entrepreneurial lens to the organization. And with that, we have been able to look at us as a startup ourselves and be innovative and creative about what are the products, solutions, programs, and the approach to our customers and stakeholders to make Bermuda the best ecosystem that I know of.
Yeah, I was going to ask you because, I know your background. You were planning and architecture and all of that. So I know you spoke about the economic empowerment zones, and I get it because part of that does include kind of development and all of that kind of stuff. But how did you find that transition from going from planning and the director of planning to running an organization focused on developing entrepreneurs? And they could be doing any number of things, right? Entrepreneurship is like so broad. It could be anything. So how was that transition?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's an excellent question. People always ask me that because I do have an architecture degree and I do have a planning degree and an urban design certification, and so a few things. I was never the director of planning, but I did act a few times.
Okay.
So, but I was the director of sustainable development, and so through that work was exposed to what Bermuda Small Business Development Corporation and what BEDC, the eventual BEDC did, because with regard to sustainable development, you're trying to create policies and programs that help to bring your ecosystem, your island, your jurisdiction into balance with regard to social policies, economic policies, and environmental, physical policies. And so through that was exposed to the work that we did here at BEDC, which was really how to focus on economic policies and entrepreneurship and business formation as a key catalyzer for growth and development, but also to strike the balance. So was it a difficult transition? I think what I would say to people that if you have the capacity for problem solving and critical thinking and adopt a perspective of lifelong learning, I think anything is possible. What I do here at BEDC, I don't I don't consider that to be the end all. I continue to develop as a person, and there are so many things that I want to learn about in the world and do in the world. So I see myself as, transitioning beyond just business advice and supporting entrepreneurial growth, because it's just so much cool things out there that are just interesting to me, and I'm like, oh, I want to know how to do that. But one of the key things that really spoke to me at BEDC is that when you are, and I'm not going to speak for all planners, but when you're in the design and the planning field and process, you're providing advice on plans that could come into fruition, right? Your vision in what a place could look like, or what a building could look like, or how it could feel. But I did think that there's a bit of a separation between understanding the economics of how that works.
Okay.
And so coming to BEDC, that allowed me to fill that gap and really understand how decisions on land or development actually have to have a financial basis. And so that connection was really powerful to me. And it just made things so much more clearer on, you just don't develop a jurisdiction just out of will.
Right.
It takes finance. And it takes a plan. And so even in creating that, there is the entrepreneurial spirit and the business acumen that is needed in order to do that.
Yeah, I always think about, especially with like government departments, or like you said, your director of sustainable development, some people can get so caught up in the process and the procedure and the red tape. And so it doesn't leave a lot of room for creativity and, like you said, that visioning, right? But I do think that with BEDC and with entrepreneurship in general, it gives you the opportunity to think about how to solve the problem, right? So you have to be creative. And I would imagine that, like you said, by having that kind of creative background as an architect and then coming here and saying, okay, well, here's some other problems, because, we get the problems, right?
Yeah, we do.
They're like, give it to BEDC, they'll figure it out. Then you still have, it gives you the opportunity to, like you said, create a minimum viable product, to look at what the solution could be. And what that actually means. And not just from, oh, look, it looks pretty, but all the details too. Like, what is it going to take for us to move that needle to where we need it to be? So I can just say, working with you over these last years, it's been amazing to see the organization grow. Because, we were Bermuda Small Business.
Yes,
people still call us small business.
They do.
And now we're Bermuda Economic Development Corporation. Can you talk a little bit about why we transitioned from just small business to the BEDC?
Yeah, because, an economy just doesn't run on the companies or the businesses that get formed in it. They play an important part. But in order to have sustainable economic revenue generation and intent, you also have to think about what are the tools or what are the policies that need to be in place in order to facilitate that. So we were being asked, right, to look at physical geographic areas, and yes, to help the businesses in there, but how do you actually regenerate an area or bring more economic activity into it? And so through that process, our remit just, it expanded by osmosis beyond just business development, advice, and support. And so it made sense for the organization to have a name that was appropriate for the work that we was doing, but also something that spoke to that much broader remit.
Yeah.
I see BEDC, we provide products and services that focus on both sides of a coin, right? So we're minute in detail with regard to helping one specific business get started and businesses create jobs. So by virtue of that, we're creating jobs, and that's focused on that one business. But then on the other side of the coin, we look at broader policies and spaces, because if we can create multiple businesses within a particular area, the knock-on benefits with regard to economic growth, you know, money actually traveling throughout that jurisdiction, and positive benefits would knock on. And so by bringing people to an area, focus on events and initiatives and programs, that helps people to spend money within that jurisdiction. That knock-on benefit means that there are more people there. People tend to then improve their physical conditions because they want to entice more people. They want to keep those people there. And then by nature of that, you have more people being able to have eyes on whatever these social issues are. And then there are policies and procedures that you put in place to address that. So in a nutshell, our growth was, I don't think we came to this saying we're going to be an economic development corporation. And by no means are we perfect. I think that there are still a lot of areas that we can improve and a lot of areas for growth, but we're human beings. And I think by nature of that, we have, at least me, I have an agenda for action, but I also have an agenda for increasing knowledge base and experience. So in a nutshell, we do both. And I think it's important for Bermuda to have work happen in both of those places. And so that's it in a nutshell.
So I'd like to talk a little bit now about your visioning for the organization and maybe within the next 2 to 3 years, because I know we have all these projects, right, that we're working on. And some are focused on regeneration. So we are still right along in there. Can you talk a little bit about that and what you hope we can help to create?
Yeah, Jamilah's putting me on the hot spot, people. So, I mean, ultimately, so first and foremost, from the business development and entrepreneurial perspective, so one, I want BEDC to be the foremost organization in Bermuda that is known for facilitating entrepreneurial growth and development, but not just locally, from an international perspective. So when anyone is thinking about Bermuda with regard to entrepreneurs, they know to come to BEDC. Second, for the organization, I want to position ourselves to be in a place where we are constantly creating world-class entrepreneurs. And so, we have to have resources, products, curriculum in order to do that. And I think that there's a real growth area there because, despite the work that we have done over the last few years, I think Bermuda's entrepreneurs are still, they still just think that their marketplace is just here in Bermuda. And so we want to be very intentional in saying that those that can grow and can scale have the opportunity to do that and make connections beyond our shores. Also, for the organization, really want to help to continue to develop world-class incubators and accelerators that meet the needs of Bermuda and beyond. And I think we're on that, trajectory and pathway. And I'm so proud of the work that we've already done. But, I see that there are things that we can do to grow and improve, just like any type of startup. I think it's important to have a national entrepreneurship strategy for the island.
Yeah.
And so I'm really interested in us developing one so that we can have a plan, a coherent plan across Bermuda on what we want to do over the next 5 years. And then the other thing I just want to continue to grow and validate is that entrepreneurs should be respected for the contribution and the role that they play within any economy, and especially in Bermuda. And I think we've done a lot of work with regard to what could be considered as a negative kind of perspective of entrepreneurs in the past, as hustlers.
Back in the day, right? Yeah.
I have a hustle, or, I just do this on the side, as opposed to the respect that was historically given to, large scale companies and whatnot. Because Jamillah, it takes a lot to start a business, and it definitely takes a lot to start a business in Bermuda.
Yeah,
and entrepreneurs should be respected for that because not everyone can do it, and not everyone does do it. But also, so with regard to growing that respect, but I also want us to be very intentional to help every business owner, local, small, and medium business owner here who has a business but don't consider them to be, an entrepreneur themselves, right?
Right.
So we have a lot of subject matter experts who are running businesses and providing services, but don't consider themselves to be an entrepreneur. So I want us to help to change their mindset and help them to understand that anything that they do can be profitable, right? If they just recognize and they understand who their customer is, where the opportunities for growth are, and there's a pathway for connecting to that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think we can do it. I mean, I think some of the things that you've mentioned already, like our incubator program, the accelerator program, these are our ways of trying to do that, right? To help people to navigate that process. And what I've seen is that with the goal is for us to be able to support people no matter what stage,
Absolutely.
right, of development that they're in. So from the idea, right, through to, okay, now I've got the idea. People want to pay me for it. Now, how do I actually start this thing? To understanding what the finances are required. And then that wraparound support that the incubators provide.
Yeah.
And then once you're there and you've arrived, it's like, okay, now how do I take this business and scale it maybe beyond Bermuda? So to me, I think that we got it. We figured it out, but I agree with you 100% that I feel like it should be at this time a national kind of strategy, because I do think that the negative kind of thoughts around entrepreneurship has changed. Like, everybody's an entrepreneur, right?
Absolutely. So we've accomplished our goal.
We have done it. So I think the respect is there. People understand the challenge, and then I feel like COVID kind of helped that, right?
It did. I mean, obviously COVID was devastating, not just for Bermuda, but for the world.
Yeah.
But COVID also presented a number of opportunities for entrepreneurs to really quickly solve problems, right? Very intentionally, right? And so I think COVID created a bit of a sandbox for innovation to really be created and a catalyst. And my hope is that now that we're coming post-COVID, COVID is still there, but we're transitioning out, that we don't revert back to
where
to our mindset, our island's mindset previously, and that we create an environment that really fosters and supports innovation. It's going to feel uncomfortable, from a policy perspective, because if you've only done something one way, for many, many years, and, you have this regulation or this rule or this process, right? Being open to a different perspective is not going to feel comfortable. But I think we have to feel more comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And embracing change, just as a people, right? If we really want to grow this island. And so on that, the other area I forgot to mention is my hope is that we really have an ecosystem that has a variety of funding options for entrepreneurs, right? Yeah. So debt financing is traditional. That's what we've always done. But, a network of angel investors, venture capitalists, peer-to-peer lending, and crowdfunding, and so that entrepreneurs have options and they have choices, and so that they're not limited with regard to bringing their business either to fruition by lack of access to capital.
Yeah.
That is an area, I mean, we're at the very beginning of trying to address that as a nation. And so, I know there are some established investing platforms that is so great. I know you have worked with one investor platform. You have a partnership overseas. And so we just need more. We can never have too much, because I do think that is a real limiting factor for a number of people who have really great ideas and can't figure out how to bring it to market. Yeah,
because the barrier to entry can be high, especially if you're not independently wealthy or have that pot of gold sitting over here somewhere. Having the variety of options, and debt financing, especially for startups, is not really. No. I mean, that's not. You need time.
It's not ideal. It's not the ideal finance.
It's not. It's not. So I would agree. So I feel like there is a lot of work that still needs to be done in that area. So I guess that's gonna be on our.
I'm going to give that to you as a to. I mean, I think in BDC offering direct financing, I think that's our dabble. And so as you know, we're kind of playing with the idea of being able to increase that level of direct financing ourselves, which will be helpful to the ecosystem. We're obviously positioned our legislation to partner with companies, to invest in companies, to help to bring really, really creative and innovative startups to market, right, as partners and investors ourselves. So all of that. So it's daunting. It's a little bit scary, but it's exciting too. And I think for any organization who wants to be cutting edge, you have to have all three of those types of experience, right? So you have to feel daunted a bit by the process, right? But you also have to feel excited about the possibility of what
it can mean. Yeah.
And I feel like BDC is a dreaming organization, right? We are always visioning the possibility of what could be, and then we try to achieve that.
Yes.
And then we don't stop.
You know what I think we should do?
What?
So, we've been talking about mindset, and I feel like we all get it, right? Because most of the people that work here are entrepreneurs or have been at some point in their lives, so they see it from both sides, right? I think we should do like a startup weekend. We should be working on creating entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? Like through government, because I feel like sometimes because of so much red tape and bureaucracy, it has to be done this way. You can kind of get caught up in that. So when you're presented with this new idea, the first response is like, no, we've never done that before. Shut it down. And so I'm like, how can we change that mindset? Let's do a startup weekend for government. Find a problem.
There you go.
I created more work for myself.
You just made more work. Go ahead to be. I'm all for it. See what I'm talking about? We're always dreaming, and then we say, let's do it. But yeah, I would agree. I think embedding an entrepreneurial mindset within any organization. You don't have to be an entrepreneur, but entrepreneurial mindset is recognizing a problem and solving it.
Yes, creatively. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so there is no box.
Yeah.
There's nothing in a box. There's no box. It's just what is.
Right.
And so nothing is wrong or right. It just is.
Right.
And then there's this agenda for action, right? To constantly be trying to do something to solve it, right? And so, my biggest, I think when I was younger, I had this belief that everything had to be perfect.
Yeah.
No, that's out the window now, right?
Yes.
I think it just has to be good enough. You have to do enough research to feel comfortable with your hypothesis and your solution and to be able to implement it. But if we waited for the perfect, we would be in analysis paralysis forever.
Yeah.
And that's not what I want for BEDC.
Or what's perfect now is not going to be perfect tomorrow because things change so quickly, And
I'm a firm believer of piloting and testing.
Yeah.
Like, I think that is the ultimate arena for validating whether or not something will work or not. You have to be able to pilot and test, and it allows you to pivot. So I feel like in BDC, we try to emulate the things that we provide or say or teach to our entrepreneurs, right?
Yeah.
To have this mindset with regard to problem solving, to be able to test, to pivot. And so if we can embed that within, our government processes or within other types of organizations, institutions, I think that we would be achieving a lot for our country.
We would.
Yeah.
Okay. Well.
So you put it out there, so now you got to take it on.
Great.
So I would say to the audience, stay tuned for another 6 months or a year, because Jamilah's going to tell you what you did.
What is wrong with me? No, but I think it's important because those are our partners who help us to actually support businesses, right? So, you need your license to do X, Y, and Z. You need planning approval. You need all of that. And I feel like sometimes if the mindset is not there, it could be difficult for people, even the banks. to understand or see the vision. They're like, we never saw that before. We're not interested. And you're like, but just because you never saw it before doesn't mean it can't happen.
Yeah.
So yeah, we need a whole scale change.
Yeah.
But in phases, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I want to talk to now, but it's the holiday season. It's about to be January 2023. Can you believe it?
I cannot believe that we're at the end of 2022.
I can't either. I'm like, wait a minute. But we should know, because like we just finished Global Entrepreneurship Week, and that was just like it was crazy, but it was awesome. But right after that, it's like, okay, the year is over now. So I would like you to share with us what your hopes are for the people that we serve, our stakeholders. What do you wish for them in the upcoming 2023? And what could we do to support whatever those wishes are?
So, I mean, I would say first and foremost, I would just want our stakeholders, our customers, our clients, and anyone that we interact with and touch to just have, first and foremost, a healthy, a safe, a prosperous, a wellness perspective for themselves into the coming year. And so, anything that BEDC could do to help to bring that to fruition, we are here. I want our entrepreneurs, our local businesses, to know that each and every one of us have the ability to control our own destiny and our fate. And so you have the ability to not just dream and conceive, but to also deliver. And so BEDC, we are here to help you to deliver. Now, we're going to ask some questions. We may push you, we may push back, but I want people to honestly believe that they are worthy, that they are valued, and that their dreams can come true in an entrepreneurial way. And so BEDC as an organization, we want to be able to support them and really emulate those values and principles to them. Obviously the island over the last 2.5 years has had a very challenging time as the rest of the world. And so, I want people to be committed to their healthiness and their wellness. So in the pursuit of entrepreneurship or business endeavor or growth, please keep that in mind, right? And so if we can be an organization to help to alleviate stress or to provide some support or advice with regard to people who have a business idea or concept, please come and see us. Yeah. And so that's my dream and hope for Bermuda and for our clients that we serve going into 2023.
Okay. I'm going to ask you.
Yes.
What are your dreams?
Oh my God.
For you. Because your birthday's coming up.
It is. I go 55. I can't believe it. On Boxing Day.
Yes.
Where does the time go?
Right. So in 2023, what do you see for yourself? And don't say nothing about you not going to be here at BEDC because I don't want to hear it. You keep trying to be sticking that in there. I don't want to hear it.
Jamillah keeps putting my business on to public domain. What's that all about? For myself, this last Global Entrepreneurship Week or month activities was really I don't know, it was very revealing to me. It was very cathartic. I maybe because we had been inside for so long, being out, it was inspirational. I feel it was healing. I think for myself it gave power to the things that I want to see for myself. So I mean, ultimately I just want to constantly feel that I'm just good enough, right? Yeah. Or the work that we do is good enough. I want to continue to assist our community. I mean, as you well know, yes, I assist her at BEDC, but I also feel that, as a citizen of any country, you have to give back. Yes. So I'm very pro contribution and volunteering, and there are, a number of charities that are near and dear to my heart. And so being able to have the space to continue to do that and to, impart my time, my resources, my knowledge, and my finances in order to make Bermuda a better place. That's my goal. I want to be able to travel more and see more of the world. That's always aspirational. And so not being completely bogged down by woulda, coulda, shoulda.
Yeah.
And, being comfortable to say, it's okay, you can leave and all will be good. I feel very comfortable with, you guys, with the executive team and management team. I have some bad habits that I'm trying to kick. Guys like emailing at like midnight. Like I am a night owl, but I think that's just because of my formative years studying architecture.
Yeah.
And like you were just always up, drawing and making models and stuff. But want to be able to change that and just be a healthier, more relaxed, more intuitive version of myself.
Okay,
Yeah.
I love it.
Thank you.
I mean, I would say that I wish that for all of us, right? I think sometimes, especially in this space, when you have so many people that you touch, so it's almost like you're birthing a baby too, right? When entrepreneurs come in with their ideas and you're with them through the whole process, you're like, we did it. I mean, you did it, but you're right along there cheering with them. So it can be taxing, right? And so I do think that, take it, we keep saying work-life balance, just life balance. Remember?
Balance. Just life balance.
Life balance.
There's no work-life. It's just life balance.
Life balance is important, and I wish that for you, for me.
I wish it for everyone.
And for everyone who is on this journey, right?
I mean, and I think, I think for BEDC, we're trying to be I'm trying to be intentional with the team in order to do that too, right? So, I'm a work in progress. I will always be a work in progress. I, by all means, make mistakes, but I try to improve afterwards. So, even like the way how we work, right?
Yeah.
The world of work, post, through COVID and post COVID. And so becoming really comfortable in breaking the constraints of traditional kind of methods and things that people may have done for hundreds of years, right? So, being open to the fact that we can have a more hybrid and flexible working relationship for the team, being able to build opportunities for the team to grow and expand, and that may also be beyond BEDC, right?
Yeah.
So I never want to be a leader that controls people and says that they can't move anywhere. So for me, it's just trying to always improve and do better.
Right.
And do better. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we're going to do better together. No, I just want to thank you for sitting down and just sharing with us your vision for the organization and for yourself, because it is about to be 2023. We're going to be saying Happy New Year soon enough. And I think it's important for people to know, right? Because you are the leader of the organization, and I feel like the culture is created, or led by you. And so creating a space for us to be creative and to come up with these crazy ideas, and you're like, all right, do it, has always been something that I've enjoyed, which is why I've been here so long, right? People are like, you still, but it's different all the time.
Every day.
It's different all the time.
But I'm so glad you say that, because I think we never want to have a stagnant organization.
Right.
And lately I've been playing with the thought, like, do we really have to have titles? Like, I really don't. Even though I'm her, I'm like, am I really like the executive?
Yes, you are.
No. I feel like I get so many ideas and inspiration and leadership lessons from the team. I'm like, yeah, we're just all her doing our thing, right? In some way, shape, or form. So I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking too much out there in the other world, but it was interesting. Yesterday we met with a client, a potential partner, and they were like, "Well, yeah, this is my title, but we don't really have titles in our organization." And I was like, that's it. We just all do, and I feel like at BEDC we all do.
It's very true.
Like I was moving the table just a little bit before.
Yeah.
We got on camera,
Exactly.
and someone was like, "No, stop moving it." I was like, "I can move this table. Stop it, guys. Come on now." So there you go.
But I think that speaks to the culture of the organization. Like, you have your job description and it says what you do, but then that's like, whatever. That's just a means to getting a job. But once you're here, it's like, what needs to happen? What do we need to do to get it done? And that has always been my experience. And I feel like for the most part, every one of us shares that same sort of, I'm sure it's because you encourage that type of interaction. So I thank you again for being here on Mind Your Business. Happy birthday.
Thank you. And happy birthday
Thank
to you
you.
too. Jamilah's birthday is on December the 25th.
Yes, y'all. Talk to my family and tell them, can I get 2 gifts?
Yes, I will. I'm going to email your husband.
Thank
right
you.
away.
Thank you.
You deserve it.
Right. And so all the best in the new year, all the
Same to
best to
you.
the entrepreneurs. And I just want to say thank you again. And, we say when we close out,
If you don't mind your business,
who will?
there you go.
Yes. Thanks for tuning in to Mind Your Business with me, your host, Jamillah Lodge. Tune in next week, Thursday at 4 p.m. because if you don't mind your business, who will? Mind Your Business is brought to you by BEDC. Bermuda Business starts here.